Alright, finally in the home stretch for one of the projects. First up is this game, Pills, about filling medicine bottles with pills. I continued to tweak the movement of the camera. It turns out though, rolling your own camera movement along a path code presents some challenges. Next, I redesigned the medicine bottle cap and how it rotates when it screws in. I spent a bit of time trying to get a cell shading look, but it didn't quite work the way I intended, so I just threw it all away. And tweaked some graphics I had worked on earlier last year. I think it came out okay. Last, I wasn't going for a very concrete parts in the background kind of look, so I just worked on the skybox, which is what you see when there's no objects blocking your vision in the game. And of course, I couldn't help but add a flair of psychedelic visuals. The next project I worked on was this game, Is It Too Late?, centered around fighting a boss. It wouldn't be a boss fight without a giant health bar for the boss, so I added that. I want the player to innocently walk forwards and then go uh-oh as they see the boss health bar filling up. Next, I worked on adding a way to dodge attacks, in the form of a dash ability. I thought about the expectations the player might have, like they shouldn't need to push the dash button again right as the last one ended. Rather, a little before should be fine. Many of the parameters for the dash I exposed in the game editor, so it's easy to tweak and quickly iterate to find something that feels good. To test out the dash, I created a floating enemy that flies over and tries to crush you. Another big thing with combat in these kinds of games is the enemies usually telegraph their moves with some kind of tell before they attack. So now the circle below the enemy changes color right as it's coming down. Finally, I added a health and stamina bar for the player. You shouldn't be able to dash constantly. Constraining dash by using stamina forces the player to make decisions on when to use it. I set it so it only recharges if the player hasn't dashed in a few seconds. The third project was continuing teaching my friend game development by recreating the popular mobile game Doodle Jump. In this episode, we added items the player can use for a limited time: the helicopter hat, the shield, the jump boots, the jetpack, which my friend wanted to be a spaceship instead. We created a system that somewhat randomly chooses which item to put on new platforms that we spawn above. Most of the time, it chooses not to put any item, and the platform will be empty. This system was very useful for tweaking the chances an item will show up when we were testing. We also wanted to add enemies to the game, and the easiest and laziest way to do that was just to reuse code we had already written to create breakable platforms. So now, instead of spawning breakable platforms, the game spawns hazards, which for now is this spiky looking ball and the breakable platforms like before. Okay, that's it. Bye bye.